Today I'm joined by Saša Kolman, who is a Slovenian football manager and former player. Saša, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invitation, Jamie.
No worries. So do you want to start us off then with your early days playing football in Slovenia, presumably? Who actually got you into football?
I started playing football when I was 7. There was no much other choice, to be honest. So everybody was playing football at the time. I live in Slovenia, my hometown Tolmin, which is on the border with Italy. So there was a big influence of Italian Serie A in the 90s, which was at the time the best league in the world. All the big superstars were there. So everybody was crazy about, Juve, Milan, Inter. So basically, football was no-brainer at the time. I started in my hometown, and I was playing here until I was, I think, 17, 18. And then I moved to the close town or city, maybe the biggest city in the area, Nova Gorica, which had the reserves. The under-19s were playing in the first Slovenian division. And that was the first time that I actually got to know a bit of more professional environment and, starting to fight for my spot and starting to think about maybe playing professional football in the future. And this is where it really begins for me.
So in Slovenia, what is football like? Is it the main sport? Is the football environment good for young players?
Look, Slovenia is a very, very small country. It only has 2 million citizens. But we are a big, I would say it's a big sporting miracle, if you can call it this way, because we are very good in basketball, in volleyball, in cycling, in winter sports, in handball. So our public is very spoiled because we have many sports to be supporting. So whenever you have results, there is a big crowd behind you. When you don't have results, then obviously no one's going to watch you because they can watch other sports that are being successful at the time. When football is having results, then it's definitely number one. But like I said, we have Luka Doncic playing in the NBA. We have Tadej Pogačar being several times champion of Tour de France. And then obviously these guys are taking a lot of attention away from football as well. But last year, when our men's A national team qualified to the European Championship in Germany, there was a massive exodus of fans going to Germany supporting the team. So basically, like I said, very spoiled for big results.
So when you were there as a player, as a youth player, when you were coming through the ranks, did you play street football? Because I know in some countries you can play street football or five-a-side. What's like the main thing that the young players will play in Slovenia?
Yeah, it's football. Obviously, we are I'm 40 years old, 41. So we are talking the times where there was no phones and internet and stuff like that. So we spent all the time, all the free time on the streets playing several things, not only football, but the main thing was always football. So yeah, we grew up on the streets. We developed as players, as we call it today, on the streets. So yeah, this is what we did when we were young. So like I said, when I was 17 was the first time that I got to know the professional environment and maybe start thinking about my future in football. There was a massive pool of young players, a lot of clubs, giving the opportunities for young players. It's a bit changed now. So there's a lot of foreign guys, foreign players coming into Slovenia to play. It's not the same as it used to be, probably everywhere else in the world as well. But yeah, we had the path there, and it was a big competition. It was not easy to break in.
So your first break-in though was at Tolmin. I believe you said it was your local club, your local town.
Yeah.
To play for them, what was that like to get your first real break-in into the game?
Look, Tolmin is my hometown club. This is where I grew up. This is still, I have a lot of affiliation to that town and the football there. The big breakup was Nova Gorica because Tolmin was always playing like second or third division. and Nova Gorica was always known in that area as the club. So when I got to play under 19s in Nova Gorica, that was the first time that I felt like, okay, I'm not in a comfy zone anymore. This is something I need to, work my way up. Try to prove to the other players I'm not a homegrown guy anymore. So now this is where the football begins. I always have desire to go back to Tolmin, to help that club, to be affiliated with them. And it was fantastic. The best years of my life was when I was playing for my hometown club, because you're emotionally involved as well. But I really developed then when I went to Nova Gorica, and then obviously to play in the foreign countries as well, because that's where the real life kicks in as well. So
Absolutely. But obviously, Tolmin are in the lower leagues in Slovenia.
yeah.
So, what is the pyramid actually like in Slovenia? Because obviously, it's a small country. So, I would have expected the leagues to not be too many leagues.
Well, it has 5 divisions anyway, so
Wow.
there's a lot of clubs. Every village they have their own club, so 4 or 5 depending on the area. There's 4 or 5 leagues. Tolmin is always somewhere on the brink between second and third, so it's not that bad. Last year they were playing second division in Slovenia. This year they're playing third, so they got relegated. It's still a very decent environment, but it's not a club that could afford one day to go, for example, to the first division. So, yeah.
Well, as a manager, how would you change? So, if you want to take a club from the third division and to the first division, what does need to change at the football club behind the scenes?
A lot of things, and everything today is connected with money. You know that. So you need to have the fan base. You need to have the pool of players. You need to have money to. The problem in Tolmin is that we are living in a very I used to live there. We are living in a very, very beautiful area between the Alps. It has its own advantages because you're so isolated, so everybody works like more of a family. It's like a family club. But on the other hand, if you want to do some break up to the higher divisions, then you would need players from outside as well. But it's hard to get them because it's so isolated from other areas and clubs and stuff. And if you don't have the money to pay big bucks, then you're gonna hardly get some players. So
But you did play in the top flight of Slovenia, right? And what was that
yeah.
like for you?
That was the proof. I proved to myself that I was good enough to be playing the top flight as well. So spending all my youth in Tolmin and then going to Nova Gorica, I said, okay, let me see how much I could get out of football playing. But to be honest, I always had in my mind that I want to become a manager one day. So I never had a big dream of becoming a big player and, being a superstar or anything like that. No, I was very happy where I was. I was doing my best, but always learning and always, writing down the sessions and stuff, even as a player, because my dream was always to become a football manager. So yeah, I played then in Primorje and I played in Nafta in 2 different clubs in top divisions in Slovenia. And I tried myself in foreign countries as well, like Faroe Islands and Spain. And I had some trials elsewhere as well. So it was a short career, but in a short career, I tried a professional environment at home and away. So I think, I got the necessary experience now as a manager to know what it feels like when you're a foreigner coming into a changing room of when you don't know anyone and you're trying to make a life outside your country, your home country, your comfy zone. So I can connect to the players today a bit easier because I went through that.
So, what is it like then to play in the top flight in Slovenia? Is the facilities like top class, or is there still work to go?
Look, it depends if you're comparing to the top class of other very developed countries in football. then no, we are far away from that. But at the same time, in the top flight, these are the best stadiums in Slovenia. So I don't know, on a day, if it's a derby game between Maribor and Olympia, then you can also get 12 to 15,000 people. Yeah. But that's not the reality. The reality is you can also get 1,000 people on the top flight. I was playing maybe in front of 3, 4, 5,000 people, for example. Yeah. So to be playing in the top flight of Slovenia in terms of Slovenian football, yeah, I reached the so-called the dream. Yeah. So it gave me necessary experience to what I do today.
So you moved to the Faroe Islands in your career, which came towards
Yeah.
the back end in 2012. So what was that like to change countries and to go and live a professional life outside of your home country?
It was a challenge, obviously, but I was always prepared to go wherever the football would take me. I was still single at the time, obviously playing professional football, and I was just going with the flow. Wherever football is gonna take me, this is where I'm gonna go. This is the most important thing in my life, and wherever I get the contract, this is where I'm gonna try. Especially because getting to know more people, different countries. I really wanted to get that experience and knowledge of how to adjust somewhere where you maybe never heard about the country before. So yeah, it was absolutely a very good move. I'm never regretting it. So everything that I did in the past is what made me today. So
And so with the Faroe Islands, is it quite cold there or is it hot?
yeah, it is cold.
Yeah, I thought
It
so.
can be. It is very windy, very rainy, cold. In the summer, you get the polar days. In the winter, you get the polar nights. So not only that I changed the country, I changed completely everything that I was used to have in Slovenia. So, but fantastic, beautiful country. Absolutely, I would recommend to anyone to go and see. The nature is fascinating.
Well, you were player coach out there, so you were also transitioning into your managerial side. So why did you decide that was the right time to do it in the Faroe Islands to start to become a coach?
Look, I wasn't planning it. I went there as a player, and I played in the most southern island of Faroe Islands, where they depend a lot of the fishing industry. How much money can get into the club or not? That year we just had maybe 2 or 3 foreign players there. Everybody else was homegrown player. The team was decent team, young team, but we couldn't really compete against the best ones. So I don't know. The manager decided after 6 or 7 games to resign. They were looking for a coach, and they knew at the time I was holding the UEFA A license already because of my studies at the Faculty of Sport. I have a bachelor degree. So during my playing days in Slovenia, I was also studying. And when they found out I have a UEFA A license, they offered me the job as a manager and player. And because my dream was always to manage, I said yes. And to be honest, that was the hardest job that I ever done in my life, because being a player and a manager at the same time, it's very hard, because you get into the changing room at the halftime, you're trying to say something, but you're talking to yourself as well, because you're on the park as well. So but yeah, definitely brilliant experience.
So when you are that coach player, again, you said it was quite hard, but off the pitch, I suppose in the midweek when you're trying to prepare the team, but then also trying to prepare yourself to then trying to train yourself, and it must just all be a complete shambles in your head, right?
Uh, it was a lot of talking, because the guys that I used to play before I was a manager, they were my friends. So basically, me as a foreigner getting there, they helped me a lot. So I got really close to them, because they were basically helping me as a foreign player. But then one night that changes, and now you become somebody that's gonna make a decision whether they're gonna play or not. So that was really hard. So I was inviting them a lot on, let's sit down, let's talk 1v1, 1v1. It was all about communication. They needed to understand that I'm in that position. Maybe I didn't want to be in that position, but the club really asked me, to save the season, to be the coach as well. So basically, it was more of a friendly / managing career or experience. So was not easy, man. It was not easy, but somehow we still kept in touch. We are still friends. I have no problems going back to Faroe Islands and then catch up with these guys, which means that at the end we did a good job and we stayed friends. So that's all that matters.
What was it like in the coaching style in the Faroe Islands? What is it like compared to a European style? Can you really compare it to anywhere?
It was depending on the weather. Because if it was really windy, and it got really windy sometimes, forget about everything you've done during the week, because you just need to adjust. It was the survival mode on. So basically we were fighting for to stay in the league. We were fighting for not to get relegated, and it was all kind of based on that. So just try to get the guys on board, try to keep them motivated, and then just go on the pitch and just try your best. So I didn't really have time, to build something special, because I took it during the year. I was still playing, so it wasn't easy. So,
well, your coaching career then took you back home to your boyhood club once again. Was that a move that you always wanted, or was it why did you decide to go back to your boyhood club?
Well, after I finished my contract in the Faroe Island, I moved back, and I think I was 29 or 30 at the time, and I was thinking about coaching. So that's where I really started to think about coaching. I was still young enough to kept playing, but to be playing at 30 for that kind of money, for these kind of experiences, I think I had enough, because there was a lot of moving around to different countries, and always going around with the backpack and the luggage and being ready to jump on the plane and go. I said to myself, maybe this is the time where I maybe start chasing my dreams. I did my playing part. I got the experience. I played the top division in Faroe Islands, in Slovenia. There was a short stunt in Spain as well. Completely different football. This is where I really opened my eyes to completely different philosophy of football, and it helped me a lot in terms of my managing career. So I decided to stop playing and to really get into manager mode 100%. So I didn't stay home a lot of time. I decided to jump on the plane and go to Australia, not knowing where I'm going. So basically that was just all right, let's go. Why Australia? I don't even know, because I just wanted to go somewhere where nobody's gonna know me, and just to create my name somewhere in some faraway country. And basically, when I landed in Melbourne, I asked myself, "All right, what are you going? What are you gonna do now?" So basically, there was no contract, there was no clubs. I didn't know anyone, and I just started to go around meeting people, sending CVs, trying to get into clubs, and this is where it all started, basically.
Well, that's a really interesting part of your story, but obviously Spain was involved in it as well. So I suppose in the tactical side of the game, Spain would have probably helped you quite a lot.
Look, I was a center back, and while playing in Slovenia for coaches, and to be honest, I was playing for a lot of coaches that were old school. So basically, just defend, kick it long, don't take any risks at the back. So that was my experience as a player in Slovenia. And then I sign in Spain. I go to Spain to the third division, so very decent level, not top level, but very decent level. And I get to the first training session. I still remember we were playing the reserves. We were playing under 20s, the friendly match. So basically, I'm playing the center back. I get the ball. I'm under the pressure. So, I did what I was used to do. So I kick it long. and the coach stopped the game. He goes absolutely ballistic at me. I didn't understand the word in Spanish, but I knew that something was wrong. And basically, he said to me that he never wants to see me to kick the ball long. And then when I asked him in English, he didn't speak English, so I can't even remember how we communicated. I said to him, but I was under the pressure. What do you want me to do? He basically said, if you have to go and dribble them, I don't care. Just don't kick it long. So that was like, okay, wow. I really need to adjust a lot, and I don't have a lot of time. And those couple of months that I stayed in Spain, this is where I really started to, explore my skills as a center back, starting to play the game. I really started to enjoy it a lot. And this is something that changed my mind in terms of my coaching today as well. So I get it what the players want. I know they want to play. I know they're going to be feeling more appreciated. They're going to be enjoying it more if I let them play more. So basically, this is my philosophy.
So with your centre backs, then in the coaching side of things, would you rather them kick the ball long under pressure, or do you want them to dribble past?
It's all about the balance. So if you're under the pressure and you're really getting into the last couple of minutes and you having the lead of 1 or 2-0 or whatever, it's up to him. I'm not playing, the player's playing. He needs to take those risks. And I always say to them, you make a mistake, you're not going to be punished. I will understand, but we will need to sit down and talk about it. Because at the end of the day, you want to win the game. It's all about, especially on the senior level. Yeah, you want to play nice football, of course. You want to play modern football, of course. You want to develop players. You want them to feel fun playing football. But at the end of the day, you have to win. So when taking risks, it's their decision. It's not mine. So you make a decision whether you want to go and dribble and you want to kick it long. It all depends on where in the game you are. So, and what kind of the game you're playing and stuff like that. And of course, everything in preparation of everything, we want the center backs to be playing as well. They're the playing center backs. But then make the right decision at the right time. Sometimes you want to kick it long because you want to clear it out because you are under the pressure. That's fine, man.
So you went to Australia, as you mentioned, and you got there, didn't quite know what you were expecting. So what did happen in the end? Was it more than you were expecting, or was it less than you were expecting?
It was way more than I expected, because when I told you, when I landed in Melbourne, I went out of the plane and I said, all right, what are you going to do now? So basically my plan was, I don't know, I'm going to try to get into football. If that's going to take me 3 months, if that's going to take me half a year or a year, and I'm going to be doing something else in the meantime to survive, that's fine. But my plan was, let's try to get into football. Basically, I started sending my CVs to all the clubs in Australia. I didn't even know the level. Trust me, I had no idea where I'm sending the CVs from. Probably first division to the lowest division. I started to get to know the people. I started to connect, to network, and in a month, I get the contract of being a coach in South Melbourne, which was in the old days, the NSL days, before they created the franchise A League, was the biggest club in Australia. So a lot of history there. Ferenc Puskas was the coach in South Melbourne. Ange Postecoglou, the ex-Tottenham manager, was coming from South Melbourne. So there was a lot of history there, and a nice, beautiful stadium, nice facilities. And I was like, wow, man, I'm okay. I started to coach under 10s because obviously no one's gonna just give you the top job. They need to get to know you. They need to see who you are, whatever. But I was like, okay, that was fast forward of what I was thinking, what I'm gonna get. So basically, yeah, in a month time, I'm in South Melbourne coaching under 10s. In the next 2 months, I'm already coaching under 10s and under 14s, and before the half a season is over, I'm already under 20s head coach. So it was like, wow, it was just happening so fast. And I stayed there for 5 years, 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and in the end, I was the head coach of South Melbourne.
And what was it like to be there as the head coach?
This was everything I was building for 5 years and everything I was going through in Australia, because really it wasn't easy being so far away from home, dealing with all the bureaucracy, with the papers, with the visas, with the very expensive rents, earning a very small amount of money at the start. That was like, okay, in 4 years, I've managed to get to the top job. I was really proud of myself, to be honest. And it was the confirmation of something inside me that, yeah, that might be the path for me in the future. So maybe I'm good enough to be doing that. And then, to be honest, I had a lot of success in those 4 years dealing with the juniors and bringing up the program, and even being a champion in under 20s, MPL champion in Victoria. There was a very short spell with the seniors. It wasn't the best. There was a big transition at the time. I took over a coach that was there for many years. It didn't go well. There was a lot of responsibility on a lot of parts, on my part as well. And this is where I decided that maybe the Australian story is finished, and I probably we're gonna part ways. And this is when I went home. But talking about Australia, it's a funny story, because 7 years later, I go as a national head coach of Slovenian women's team. I go to play 2 friendly games in Australia, and the people from Melbourne flew to Perth to watch me, and they brought me, after we finished with the national team, they brought me back to Melbourne for 4 or 5 days to meet all the people that I used to work with. And there was a lot of love, a lot of friendship still there, a lot of that connection, affiliation. And this is where I said, okay, man, don't just worry about the bad half year you had. It was the whole story of 5 years, and people still loving you here, and I love them. And South Melbourne is gonna be always the big part of my life and my career. So it was really nice. It was a really beautiful moment for me, man.
So you went back home to manage in the top flight of Slovenia. So
Yeah,
again, another really big move for you. How
yeah.
did that one transpire?
Look, I came home, and then Nova Gorica, the club, the D club in the region that I used to play as an under 19 player, called me. They were playing first division, and they asked me if I want to be the. They were following my story in Australia. They were very impressed, and as a kind of a local, 40 kilometers away, they called me to be an assistant coach to one of the legends of the club. That I'm still a very big friend today with him. And of course I said yes. I really enjoyed that ride. We had a bad season. They changed 2 or 3 coaches at the end. I was assisting all of them, and at the very end, I took over as well as a head coach, trying to save the season in the last couple of games. We were very close. There was 1 goal missing, and we would stay in the league, but unfortunately, we couldn't save it. So yeah, that was another experience for me. So
So, I suppose that's getting relegated is never a nice thing to put on a CV, but I suppose it's one of those things that you learn from. So, when you stepped into that, and after the managers came through, and then all of a sudden you got called up to be the manager, what did you try and change in the last few games?
you can't change much, because the last couple of games were played every 3 days. And you play a game, you have a recovery session, you need to give the guys some break too, some days off. So you can't work a lot of football stuff on the pitch. It's basically everything in the psychology. It's in the head. So how to bring that group of players back together and try to fight for those couple of games left, trying to save the season. That was the main focus. So basically just a lot of talking, sitting down, trying to bring them up, trying to motivate them. Man, we did all right the first couple of games. We even won 4-0 one game, and everybody was, all right. I think we could save the season. But it was just too much of everything that year. So very close to saving it, but unfortunately we didn't.
And then you became the head coach of the women's national team of your country. So I suppose it's better than being the national team manager of another country, right? But so being the manager of the women's team, what have you learned in the last few years that you've been there?
Yeah. Basically, after my experience in Nova Gorica, I went for a year to work in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates, actually in Fujairah. I was working for Real Madrid Foundation Academy, another experience for me. That was the Corona time, so basically I had to leave at the end of the season. I got back home, and then I was probably for 6-7 months I was unemployed. And then the federation called me. So basically, when the federation called me, they said, "We want you to be like a regional instructor in the region where you actually live and when where you were grown up." But that was only the start, because half a year later, the department of the coach education called me on board. So basically, I started to be as a coach educator, presenting the stuff, the topics, the running the courses. So that was a new challenge for me. I really enjoyed it because I learned a lot as well. Obviously, you're dealing with the topics that you need to give forward to the coaches. It was very good for me to step away from the pitch for 2 years or 3 years, to get everything fresh in the head again, to forget about the bad experience, to get the knowledge from coach education. And then the opportunity came one day to, they said, "Look, you're already working for the federation. We are looking for a coach. Would you, with the CV, with the experience you have, we would like to give you the job." And I said yes straight away, because to be honest, after 2 or 3 years, I was missing the action on the pitch. So, but it was the first time to be working in the women's football. So when all the media started to ask me the questions about the specifics of the women's football, do you know anything or whatever, I always gave them the same answer. I said, no, I don't know. But to be honest, football is football, and I'm dealing with football, and I don't think there's much specifics there. Yeah. 2 years in the job, I can tell you there's a lot of specifics there. So that's something that I learned, how to deal with the women's teams and group dynamics and stuff. This is where it's a little bit different, and I think I adjusted pretty well, and I think all the experience of going to the foreign countries and being always left on to be dealing with everything on my own gave me a lot of probably flexibility to be adjusting into that position as well. So, and look, after 2 years, I can say I'm loving it. I'm definitely loving it. And then you mentioned it before, to be a head coach of your home country. What does it mean? And I'm always holding the tears when I sing the national anthem before the game, still after 2 years. So I'm very proud.
Well, absolutely. And obviously, you've got a Euros qualifiers, you've got Nations League, you've got everything, right, that every other national team has to qualify for. So you're involved in many competitions.
Yeah. It's action all the time. It doesn't stop. So whenever you think, okay, we finished with the 2 games, in a month time, then the next 2 games are coming, and you're already in the preparation for the next section, and it's interesting. I love it. I gotta tell you, I'm definitely loving it.
So, in terms of your upcoming fixtures and what's going on then in the national team, because obviously we know in the men's side of things that football's coming back. There's an international break, I believe, in September. Is that the same for the women?
No, it's a little bit different, because the 2025 for the men, it's really starting now, the serious part, because the qualifications for the World Cup. While in women's football, it was the first part of the year. So between January and June, we had 4 national camps. So we played basically 8 games, and everything was decided there. So the hardest part of the 250 to 225 is behind us. We just play friendly games now. But the 226, it's gonna start again with the qualifications for the World Cup. Yeah, and yeah, we were very successful. We overachieved what was the public opinion, what we can do. we got a massive success, a historical success of women's football in Slovenia. Very proud of that. Very proud of this team, of these girls, and let's see what the future brings us.
So wait, so in 2026, you're qualifying for, you said, the World Cup. So
Yeah.
who's in your group, or do you not know that yet?
The group stages are not drawn yet, because all the teams that finished second in the Nations League, they're playing playoffs now. So after the playoffs, the draws are gonna be made for the next year. Basically, we finished first in our group, so we got straight promotion to the A division, which is the top flight, the elite football in Europe, for the first time. That's why we are so proud, and we never thought, because our very realistic goal before the B Nations League group stage was starting was to stay in the B League. That was our plan, just not get relegated to C. And then we basically won the group, and we got promoted to the A division, which was unbelievable. Yeah.
So as an Englishman myself, when are you playing at Wembley then against the Lionesses?
Hopefully we get England and we play at Wembley. That would be a dream come true, man.
I'll be there, but
that's the stadium, yeah.
absolutely. But I'll be there, but I'm not quite sure if I'll have to support you in the Slovenian end or in the English end.
All right, before that game, you text me. I'll get you the tickets, but I'll get you the tickets on the Slovenian side. So you'll have to support us then.
Absolutely. Well, look, the only few questions I've got left for you would be: would you want to go back into club football? Because I know there's managerial jobs that get lost every season, so there's always room. But I suppose for you, you want to qualify for the World Cup.
Look, the dream of the national team, the dream of these girls, and I'm only living that dream for 2 years with them now. Yeah, they're dreaming about that for many, many, many years, and I really wish, because of them, that one day we're gonna succeed of qualifying to one of the big competitions. Is that gonna be the World Cup? Is that gonna be the European Championship that just finished in Switzerland now? I don't know, but that's the dream, and we definitely want to get there. And this team is growing, is really developing, is really getting the self-confidence. Otherwise, we would never qualify to the A division, you know. And it's gonna be hard for us in the A division. Like I told you before, we are 2 million nation country, and the women's football is not as developed as in the other countries. We are overachievers. It's gonna be hard for us in the A division, but it's gonna be the necessary experience this team needs to get. The hard games, the really tough, the best ones in Europe. This is the experience we need, and then hopefully in the playoffs, maybe we could surprise someone else and one day qualify to one of the big competitions. That's the dream. So what the future is gonna bring, I don't know, man. But yeah, to try to go back to clubs football, absolutely. I'm gonna be open for anything. That's the life that I chose. This is my career. This is what I want to do. This is what I love doing. But the focus now is only on one thing, and it's the national team and those girls, and we want to do the best. So.
Well, Saša, look, I really, really wish you the best of luck in your World Cup qualifiers and the friendly games and everything in between. And best of luck with your career. I'll definitely support you if you come to England and play at Wembley.
You have a deal, man. Thank you very much.